Well, that we know of yet.
Yeah.
That we know of yet. Hey, folks, welcome back to the main event. Of course, we got Bruce Cooper in here on this Tuesday. The legend himself, local legend, Bruce Cooper. Bruce, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I can't complain. I mean, I could, but it wouldn't do me any good. I'm really upset about the Suns-Lakers game Sunday night.
Huh?
I'm
What part?
The officiating, the last couple of minutes of that. I mean, well, really the last minute of that game.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go back and complain about LeBron not being ejected for making contact. I mean, he literally grabbed the official by the arm.
And the ref was all, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it, LeBron.
Yeah, but
LeBron, stop touching me. Oh, get out of here.
But
Ridiculous, right?
I mean, it's just like the last second. I mean, that 3-point shot.
From Brooks?
No, well.
Oh, which one? Which 3-point shot? Oh, LeBron's three-pointer.
LeBron's three-pointer with 3 seconds left.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we've all learned that your hand is part of the ball.
Yes.
And Devin clearly makes contact with his hand before he even raises the ball
He's
into
dribbling.
a shooting motion.
Yeah.
It's not like he was up in the air and it got hit. We see a lot of that stuff. Sometimes when you shoot, you hit the wrist and you
that's a foul.
Right. But he got it before he even pulled the ball up. It did in no such way.
NBA rules, basketball rule 101.
Yeah,
is what that is, and they called that foul.
And so I'm still fuming.
Well, then you get to so then afterwards the pool report. I know. Well, just I can handle the other stuff. Then the 2-minute report was egregious yesterday by the NFL. NBA will get into that.
You mean that report where hey,
they ignored everything?
You got a complaint. We'll watch it. We'll look at it. And we'll give you our thoughts.
Yeah, with Dylan Brooks shooting that 3, and they said he kicked his leg out. Watch that play. He never kicks his leg out on LeBron.
LeBron kicked his leg out when Devin supposedly fouled him.
But then they don't even address anything after that 3-point play. They said, should have been a foul on Dylan Brooks before that, like 3 minutes to go. And they called that. They said that should have happened. And then they said he's kicked his leg out on the 3. It was like it's like the NBA was like, let's just go after Dylan Brooks here and say all the things he did wrong that should have gone against him. But they ignored everything else.
Or how about we just give the king the red carpet treatment?
Look, if you didn't see the video, if you don't know what we're talking about, LeBron was
upset,
angrily sticking his finger in the ref's face, grabbing him aggressively.
He
not to get his
literally
attention.
grabbed the guy by the arm.
Hey, stop it, LeBron. The ref literally was all, stop it. And then J.J. Redick's grabbing the official. I don't know when that became acceptable. Dale?
But when you became the Los Angeles Lakers. Come on, Coop. You know better than that.
Well,
that goes back to the mid-'80s.
Look, I'm just bitter because, I mean, look, for 8 minutes, the Suns went without a single point. They fell behind by 20 points in the fourth quarter, and I'm upset more with their play because they're just getting pounded on the offensive glass. Throughout.
3 and 4 though has a size problem. That's what I said.
Well,
do you agree with that?
Yeah, but here's the deal: Jordan Ott has the ability to, like he's done in previous games. He can play multiple bigs. He has put Mark Williams and either Oso or Nick Richards on the court at the same time. Yeah. And he's mostly done it with Oso because Oso has that versatility and agility to play out on the perimeter. All right. So it bothered me that he didn't make that adjustment, but that's neither here nor there because the Suns, with their small lineup, he went with Ryan Dunn, pulled Mark Williams out. They rallied and they took the freaking lead. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was seeing from Marcus Smart. I mean, the guy made a couple of boneheaded plays, including the one where instead of milking the clock, trying to get them to foul, he's going to attack the rim, and Ryan Dunn blocks it. Here come the Suns. Booker, pull up 3, miss, gets the rebound, kick out to Dylan Brooks, 3. Suns 114, Lakers 113. Well, LeBron jabbed Brooks in the chest during that 3. Brooks gets up and gets in his face, and now we have the T. Now, the T didn't really bother us because LeBron missed a free throw.
Missed it.
Yeah, and then did you see afterwards? This is what I found interesting. J.J. Redick after the game said, no, Luka was supposed to take that free throw, and then he missed it. So there's some internal strife here with LeBron and JJ Redick and this Lakers team.
Oh, really?
Oh, he flat out said
I
it in the
missed that.
post press conference. They said LeBron took that three, and he goes, Luka was supposed to take that. When was the last time you saw LeBron get called out by a coach for taking a shot like that? LeBron just took over that game and knew so, and Lakers were smart to let him do it and things to that effect because they know they're going to get away with the calls and everything. It's disgusting.
Well, the thing about LeBron these days is he's going to be able to do that once every 7, 8 games. You can't do that every night anymore.
No.
But I mean that to me, yes. Well, we can complain. I say a little bit about the fishing.
A little bit.
But you shouldn't have never been in that position, Bruce. You're down 20 points early in the game.
Okay. Well,
Now, you're giving up offensive rebounds like you, me, and Steve were trying to get rebounds.
Dale, everything you said is true and factual.
Right?
Also true and factual is the Suns came back and took the lead with
Yeah.
12 seconds left in the game. So should we blame the Suns for that? I mean, give them credit
no doubt.
for not quitting, for fighting, and continuing to press on. And they did so to take a 114-113 lead with 12.2 seconds left.
Yeah.
And then it's from that point on that really gnaws at me.
I would argue we want to see this game play out, not the ref show.
No, and I understand that, and I think the older I get, the less upset I get by the officials. I used to there was one official I could stand. I didn't like any of them.
Not going to out him right now?
I didn't like any of them. I never thought I fouled when I played. I never thought I had a holding call when I played. But I understand there's questionable calls there towards the end, but you know this, Bruce. LeBron, Michael, those guys are going to get the benefit of the doubt. You know that.
But LeBron's in his rocking chair now.
Yeah.
He shouldn't get the same rules he got when he was in his prime.
But there's favorable treatment. Like I understand why they call the technical on Dylan Brooks on LeBron because they're not going to do that against LeBron. But grabbing the ref like that's just blatant ripping in the face and everything. But then on top of it, in the pool report, Dwayne Rankin was the pool reporter. If you don't know what happens, one reporter gets to go talk to the head official after the game and ask like 3 questions or,
with no
limited
follow-ups,
questions.
which is
Nothing.
key. With no
Nothing.
follow-ups.
It's very scripted, kind of a deal. The question is, early in the third, LeBron took issue with the call and it appeared he made contact with the ref. Was that reviewed at any point? The head referee's response is, during instant replay review, we have the ability to review all unsportsmanlike acts.
He didn't answer the
There
damn
was
question.
no unsportsmanlike act observed for making contact with the referee.
Dude,
We all saw it. We saw it in real time. Yeah.
Were you blind?
It's just blatant. This is why NBA refs are the worst refs on the planet, and the NBA lets them get away with it. And then the 2-minute report not addressing it. Also,
yeah.
I know that's not the last 2 minutes. I get it. But then not addressing the stuff that happened at the end of the game, realistically and stuff. It's just they're covering up for themselves.
Sure they are.
And everything. And that's where you get upset.
Sure.
Because as a basketball fan, period, that was a fantastic game, a great comeback. And the refs ruined it with all their whistles and all of that.
Yeah, look. These 2 minutes reports, they did nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing to come back and say we made an error. They glorified
they will,
every
though. They will occasionally. They will call out their officials.
But they glorified every call down the stretch in that 2-minute report. I mean, are you freaking kidding me? I watched the game.
Yeah. Well, they didn't do it. They had 2 things. They didn't even talk about half of them. That's what was shocking about it. I expected to have like a 17-page breakdown of the end of that game, like the last foul on Gillespie, after the shot was missed, and in that call. It's like, why? What is happening? I know it didn't matter, but it's like, what is happening out there? So you're still mad about it, huh?
I still am. I really am. I mean,
Was it because it was the Lakers?
I think that's a big reason why. I think it's a big reason.
There's 2 teams, Coop, and I don't know if you feel the same way. There's 2 teams. Damn Lakers, screw them, and them damn Spurs. There's 2 teams.
Dale, you're spot on there.
I'm born and raised here, been here just like you since the Suns' inception, and watched all the gory details and all. And those 2 teams.
Yeah, I'm still upset today over the Robert Horry hip check.
That goes back
kidding
to
me?
the egregiousness of how the NBA doubles down and what you see what you see, the NBA says, we didn't see that. You didn't see that, really. You're making it up.
yeah,
and that's where you get insulted as a fan base.
And I remember David Stern. He had a press conference in Phoenix, and so it was a chance for our local media to ask him questions about his ruling.
Okay.
Because he suspended both Amari Stoudemire and Boris Diaw.
Letter of the law, Bruce.
Right, well, and there was Tim Duncan. I mean, there's video all of it. Tim Duncan and Parker. They leave the bench themselves.
Right.
And so this guy had the audacity. I'm talking about David Stern. I mean, it's the late David Stern. I shouldn't. I don't want to be like. I don't want to be like Donald Trump and make some ill-fated comments on someone who's passed away. But I sat in that press conference room, and he said, and you know what he said? Would you listen to the palaver? He's talking to.
That's where that word came up.
He threw that in there to us, and he says, "Hey, look, did you guys not have?" He says, "Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't this like Game 4? You had games 5, 6, and 7 to play that with a home game in Game 5? Yeah, dude. But in Game 5, we had our 2 stars missing. Now the series is tied 2-2. We have a chance to go up 3-2. We can afford to lose Game 6 in San Antonio because Game 7 is going to be in Phoenix. Right. But because you took our 2 stars away, we lost Game 5, and now the Spurs had to close out in Game 6. So I was, it was like, I don't know. I'm sitting in there, and I'm looking. Me and Jude LaCava look at each other. We're like, no, he didn't just say that.
No, well, it's like the double whammy. It's the Spurs, which they've been a thorn in the Suns and Suns fans' side, and then the pompousness of Stern.
That's
to
what
use
makes
a
it
word
mad.
like palaver.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes me angry about the NBA. Like, at least the NFL, like, if there's an egregious call, yeah, they kind of back it up, but then at the same time, they're like, all right, that was a mistake, The NBA just doubles down and doubles down. Like, that 2-minute report yesterday actually made me angrier because that was just the NBA saying, F you, we're not calling anything on this, and screw you. You guys didn't see what you – and it's just the pompousness of the NBA drives me batty. Like, just admit it. Just admit your refs were terrible garbage. And let's move on with our lives.
And look, we all lived through the Jordan rules. I mean, Michael Jordan got special calls, but he was, and no doubt he was a terrific player, probably the best player all time. But during that same period, the NBA referees had more of a policy that you swallow your whistle in those final seconds. You don't decide the game. You let the players decide.
Right. That's what I want to see.
And so now you can complain about, there was a non-call, this, that. No, you made the call. Now you blew the whistle. Don't blow the whistle. Swallow the whistle. And we're good. That was back in the good old days.
Because I mean, like on that Dylan Brooks 3 that LeBron hits him, I'm okay with a no call there. But then to tee up Brooks because he got up in his chest and LeBron faked, he's falling over. It's just to reward it is it's just insulting to watch and stuff like that. And I grew up a Lakers fan, actually. I got away from the Lakers when Kobe was on there and he started sitting on the bench and stuff. Like, I love Kobe. He's one of the best players of all time. But when he started sitting on the bench in that stuff in the playoffs, I was like, I'm done with this team if they're going to allow this stuff. And now LeBron's there on top of it, and I'm like, oh. So I kind of wavered on them, became more of a Suns fan later on. But so I don't have that Lakers hate is what I'm trying to say. But LeBron just drives me nuts in the way the NFL and the NBA does that stuff. It's amazing out there. But the other thing that drives me nuts about the NBA is, right, Ty Lue, the Clippers have lost like 7 of 8. They're getting blown out by everybody. And stuff like that. Ty Lue yesterday was asked if his team is soft. And he goes, I don't see us being soft. I think most of the time we're trying. I think teams are faster than us, bigger than us. We got to become even more scrappy. Well, they had a guy named Chris Paul on that team that's a pretty scrappy player, folks.
Yeah.
And you decided he wasn't good enough to be there anymore.
Well, I'm just curious. I haven't been following him too much. Is Kawhi Leonard still street clothes?
No, he's playing. He's playing.
Okay.
Yeah, he's playing right now. Him and your boy Harden.
Yeah.
Are you a Harden fan? I know everybody loves him because he's an ASU
I was
guy.
a Harden when he was at ASU for sure. But if you're not wearing my favorite team's jersey or colors, I mean, I don't
give up on him.
Yeah, well, I don't necessarily root for you.
I think Harden's an embarrassment to being on the ASU squad. The way he's acted as a pro, personally.
Embarrassment?
Well,
It's an
dude,
embarrassment.
I wouldn't go that
Oh.
far.
He's an embarrassment.
I
The way
wouldn't
he's
go that
handled
far.
himself as a pro, I can't stand
Oh,
Dude,
I don't know about
Dude,
that.
he's been one of the game's top scorers.
it. He's been the guy that gave us the 19 step back threes,
well,
the
that's
push off 19 step threes.
Well, if you want to call those non-travels, well, that's on the referees. If they're not going to call them,
Yeah.
they can't blame him.
That's
But-
the stuff. I don't like players. I mean, they figure out that's why I'm not a big SGA fan right now.
Oh,
is
he pushes off all the time. He
He's
gets away with
implementing that stuff, and he's getting away with it. And I don't like players that figure out how to manipulate the system and then become good in that system and win a couple MVPs by manipulating the system. It drives me batty that they get rewarded for that stuff. That's why.
Well,
that's how I feel about
I'm
it.
going to tell you, obviously, it's been a part of basketball for a long time, whether it's the overselling a charge or whatever that is. I see it now starting to take a hold in the National Football League, where freaking defensive linemen
faking.
start throwing their hands up and falling down, and what are you playing? European soccer? Come on, man!
Well, yeah. You know. I tell you, it was and I'm not trying to be a homer because I'm complaining about two different home teams because the Cardinals suck. There's just no getting away around it. But you got to call a spade a spade. Look, and I know we talked about it on this very show. The offensive lineman would push, would get pushed from a deep by the defensive lineman, and they just chop their hands down. And they'd fall, and you're called for holding. I'm like, dude, in no way, shape, or form was that holding. And so, Dale, I know you saw the play and you agreed with me. And so, being an offensive lineman, I felt good about being upset about it.
No, that's perfect technique.
I've seen it on a couple of other games, not just Paris Johnson, but other.
But
teams
see,
as
what
well.
it is officials looking at five guys on offense, 4 or 5 guys on defense. They just see a blob. They see an unusual movement. They don't even know what happened. They throw a flag, and because you teach. If a lineman's good enough to take a pass set, the dude comes at him with his hands, and you knock him down. That's perfect technique. But
Absolutely.
It's an unusual movement when you see a defensive lineman do a nosedive.
Well, why don't the referees call what they see and not what they perceive?
There is the.
You know what their excuse is? The game's too fast. That's literally what they say. NBA refs will tell you, 2AT, basketball refs will tell you, 2AT, high school level, college, whatever, the game's too fast and we have to react. So in basketball, they pay attention to, do they hear a slap? You know, and that tells you you hit the hand. Does the ball go up or down after they're hit? They pay attention to that stuff because they say the game is too fast to see it all. And they blow the whistle on things they don't see. Which is agreed. Put more refs out there. You got computers now. You got the eye in the sky in the NFL.
Yeah.
Stuff can easily be fixed. But
that's the problem. Well, in the NFL, the NBA allows you to challenge a penalty call. You can't challenge a penalty call in the NFL.
yeah. Well, they tried it one year and it was a terrible mistake.
Well, I think it was a deal about a pass interference. If I'm not
pass interference. You could challenge a pass interference
Right.
call. But the problem with that is that Major League Baseball has. The people that make the calls cannot be the people determining if the replay is good or not because they're biased, obviously, because they made it. Yeah, you'll have some good ones that'll come out. Like there was a Major League umpire ref last year, or umpire during spring training that called a strike, I think, and then they challenged it, because you could do that in spring training. And he went and reviewed it, and he goes, "Well, guess I was wrong." And he goes, "It was a strike," or something like that. It was kind of made a joke out of it. But most of them get upset about when they get checked on the field, which is why their unions fight to have to do the press pool thing instead of sitting in front of the media and getting asked the hard questions. Yeah. They don't want to be embarrassed. And that's just, coaches have to do it. Owners have to do it at certain points. Players have to do it or they get fined, and the refs just keep getting away with it. And you would have more. Refs would be more careful on their calls if they knew they had to sit in front of the media and be asked hard questions for 5 minutes.
Something else that I noticed over the weekend, to switch gears, I was watching after the NFL game, the sports had come on, local sports come on with Channel 12 there.
I say, what channel do you watch, Bruce?
Yeah, well, it was the NFL game. It was the Vikings.
So it was a Sunday night game.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they had the show that came on immediately
It's
after.
the Cowboys, not a Viking.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about the Cowboys and their failures.
But at any rate, they showed a clip that I hadn't seen, and it was of Kenny Dillingham responding to, not, being interested in the Michigan job.
Yeah.
Standing around. And it took him like about 25, 30 seconds.
I'll tell you, it was 31 seconds on the dot.
Oh, so you guys talked about that?
Well, it was on Saturday is when he did it.
Yeah,
after
I
practice.
just want to get, what
Well,
was
we're gonna talk about that.
What was your, both of you guys as a
Fantastic tease, Bruce. When we come back of the second hour, we'll get into that as well. Well, so that's one of my big topics here. I have Dillingham question mark here.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because I'm mixed on this feeling.
I was
don't.
going to say, Coop came in. It's been negative.
I know.
Negative.
Well, is it going to get positive for Dillingham here now?
Yeah.
I don't know how to take the Dillingham thing. I'll tease it like that. And I said it the other day. I could take it one of two ways, and we'll talk about that coming up. We got Jonathan Gannon news.
Uh-oh.
I think he's finally feeling the heat, fellas.
Uh-oh.
We'll talk about his press conference yesterday as well, and all that stuff. And I got a question on Bobby Hurley with you as well,
Okay.
Bruce. After the other day. So come on back, folks.
I watched that game with Santa Clara, too.
The main event. And we're back here, second hour main event. I'm your humble host, Stephen McCollum, 17-year NFL veteran, Del Hellestrays, over here as well. And, of course, we call him the local legend, Bruce Cooper, 34 years at Channel 12.
34
Passed that off to somebody else there, and it just ratings have tanked since over there with Bruce not there and everything. But in all seriousness, Robert chimes in and says, great tease by Coop. I think he has a future in sports media. Well, there you go. We're rooting for you in this venture that you've started out on.
How about that?
Here as well. I mean, you brought him up. We talk everything local here with Bruce Cooper. Of course, joins us on every Tuesday out there. But you brought it up before the break there. Dillingham, you saw the clip.
I did.
It was from Saturday. They delayed. They canceled practice. I forget the days now. They canceled practice one day. Everybody was like, he's on a plane to Michigan. And then they delayed practice the next day to 10:45 in the morning. They emailed all the media people and said, practice is now 10:45. He walks in all smiling and everything. After practice was the clip you saw. It was 30 seconds of quietness. He choked up, got kind of, choked up about being here and what ASU means to him. Dale, do you want to give your thoughts on that, couple minute, section there with that 30-second pause before I get
Well, I
mine?
think anymore in coaching, you can take every interaction two different ways. Two different ways. I've seen guys cry as they take the money and go somewhere else. I've seen guys cry as they stay.
I love this play. They're wiping their tears with their hundreds.
I mean, how many times you hear Nick Saban saying, I'm not taking the Alabama job?
Yeah.
And, but Kenny seems different until he's not different.
Yes, that's the problem.
And again, I've always said this about ASU sports, whether it's a basketball program, football program. I've always said, why don't you want a guy who is coveted by other schools? That means he's doing a good job at your school. Now it's your job to keep him. And now you got a guy who seems to be coveted. I mean, I hear little whispers here and there, but I would never see him leaving for the Michigan job, but there will come a day that I think that he might up and leave. What about you?
Well, it took me back to his introductory press conference. Again, he's showing a lot of emotion there. I said, okay, this is home for him. I mean, he sold me on that. I sat there and I watched that on Sunday evening. I'm like, I just don't feel the same authenticity
Oh, really? Okay.
that I felt during his introductory press conference. And it's I'm not trying to start anything or anything like that.
Oh, too late. I've already started it. So wrap it up.
Because I am a Kenny Dillingham fan,
Right.
but I just didn't feel that same type of authenticity that I felt from him during his introductory press conference. He sold me on the fact that this is his school. It means something to him. Right now, it's almost like the highest bidder could be a big factor for him, because right now his agent and the Sun Devils are negotiating, or I should say, renegotiating
Yes.
his contract. So if money didn't mean, and look, I get it. Money is a motivating factor in a lot of things that we do, but I need that emotion to be genuine, and I just didn't feel that it was
Interesting.
genuine.
Well,
that was
okay.
just my take. That's why I asked.
Yeah. So when I originally saw that, I said, "Oh, good. He's staying. He's staying. He's staying. He's fine." Because I have been told from Michigan, people inside the Michigan, close to the Michigan program. I don't know if they're necessarily inside, but close to the Michigan program. Kenny Dillingham's their number one guy, and they're going to
really?
do whatever. Well, one of the top two. I'll put it that way. And they're going to do whatever it takes to get him to prime away from Arizona State. Is what I was afraid of me. So that means money. That means NIL, whatever, and they can do it, right? They can do it. He's high on their list, and all that stuff. And we talked about it before. If you're Kenny Dillingham, you just rebuild Arizona State from that. You don't know who your AD is going to be because that guy's going to get blown out with all the things, all the bad stuff that's been happening around, even when Harbaugh was there, but not just the football program. They've had hockey problems. Juwan Howard got blown out for improprieties. There's stuff going on in Michigan. Do you want to leave here to go there just because of the bigger NIL program and stuff to that effect? I think teams are wearing him down. Not necessarily him, his agent down, where his agent's going, look, man, we got to consider this stuff or parlay it into ASU and see what they can get you more. The problem that we're running into is I don't think he'll take the Michigan job. Whoever gets the Michigan job and what opens up behind him is the bigger threat in my eyes than the Michigan job is in my eyes.
Well, look, I've seen coaches, I've seen players who, when they talk about this being their place, they aren't looking for the money to come to them, but to their assistants. They want to take care of their assistants,
And
keep
Michigan
their
can do that.
assistants in place. And so then it makes me think of Sam Levitt, who's officially entered the portal. I truly believe that Sam Levitt, and it's so crazy. Don't ask me why. I just didn't find the authenticity with Dillingham this time around that I did the first time. But with Sam Levitt, even though he's not on record of saying anything necessarily, we've heard some things from his brother / agent who's posted some things. But the feeling I get from Sam Levitt is, he wants to make this next year in college his absolute best. He wants to be protected.
Yes.
He wants to have receivers to go through. He knows that Jordan Tyson is leaving. And so he really feels that he can be a first-round draft pick in the NFL because that was the narrative coming into this season.
And he lost.
And so, and so he might look around and say, I don't have confidence that Arizona State, from an NIL perspective, can give me those protections that I want around me that would, enhance my draft stock back to number one. So I believe that and so that's why you haven't heard anything from him. But again, going back to Dillingham, the pause was just so exaggerated for me.
Yeah.
It really was,
Yeah.
to the point to where I really started to compare and contrast what he did in his introductory press conference to what I was seeing.
See, and here's the thing with ASU, and you did bring it up. I think his assistants, he likes to take care of his assistants.
Well, he needs to get rid of Arroyo, but that's another story.
But I also think that he's also looking at this going, okay, well, and I'm with Steve. I don't think he takes a Michigan job. I think you stay away from that because that thing is a powder keg right now. Who knows what else is coming out and all that. But whoever takes that Michigan job, albeit DeBoer at Alabama, the guy at USC, something like that, then do you know, like we were talking about the other day, when Nick Saban retired, that precipitated like 43 different coaching moves.
The domino effect.
Yeah, the domino effect.
And it was
everybody
late.
moving
Remember,
around.
it was late.
Yeah.
It was late in the season.
And so I could see him saying, "Well, if I go to an Alabama, or God forbid a USC, or whatever, well, these schools are going to give me all the NIL money that I need to get the guys that I want, and I'm not going to get outbid. because that's basically what's coming down to now. It's like there's no salary cap in college. At least there's a salary cap in
Well,
the NFL.
It's changed now because of they have to schools have to pay the players and stuff. The thing about Kenny Dillingham, when I first saw it, I was like, all right, he's committed to staying here for another year, etc. Then about an hour later, I'm just sitting there minding my own business, and just hits me in my head. You get emotional like that when you're leaving someplace that you love to be at, or you're thinking about leaving a place that you're emotional to.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you get emotional. You don't get emotional because you're staying.
Yeah.
You get emotional because you're contemplating leaving.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean he's going for the Michigan job, but it means, man, my agent is just fielded nothing but huge offers for me for the last month. Maybe I get through this year and he's got one eye looking someplace else going forward because of that non-commitment. Because, I have no faith Michael Crow is putting money into this. He's going to say he is. He's going to say all the right things. And then he's going to go, here's your $500,000 we're giving you. Good luck with it. And he's not going to be there like when Franklin went to Virginia Tech. Why would Franklin go to Virginia Tech? Well, they said the school's going to put $150 million into their NIL program and stuff, which they've never done before, record numbers. But he negotiated that in the deal in order to go there. And do you have faith Michael Crow's going to be the guy that's going to be like, we'll put $150 million into the football program? He's going to go, oh, here's a ham sandwich. Good luck to you.
Yeah, so far, the only thing I've really heard that from Dillingham's contractual status is that every season that he wins, the program wins 6 games, the loop starts over. He gets another year added to it. Yeah. So, but there has to be some type of financial gain that I'm not hearing that I think that's what you're talking about. Dillingham's agent is in his ear saying, dude, you can't give up. And just me. I'm guessing.
No, his agent better be talking to him about this.
I'm just guesstimating that, hey, you can get $4 to $5 million more by going here.
Right.
And I think that's a significant.
But he could get $4 to $5 million more, and your assistants can get more, and you can get NIL support.
Well, Dale asked me yesterday and said, "What do you think?" Sharon Moore, I think, was at $5.5 million there at Michigan. Right, and he wasn't it. He was just on Harbaugh's staff, and they promoted him up. So a top tier college football coach is $10 million. If you really want a guy and you think he's it, you're starting the conversation at $9-10 million for him to come there. ASU ain't coming anywhere near that number. I think he's at. I just looked it up to see.
I think he's what, 5?
I want to say he's 5, but don't quote him because it's changed, with everything going on. And they're renegotiating now. But if ASU gets to 7, you like it here, But I think for college coaches, the NIL's the more important thing right now for them in terms of how you get kids here. And he's dealing with it, especially this year. Because there's no doubt Sam Leavitt isn't leaving because of the money. Sam Leavitt's leaving because, they can't spread the money around enough to get high-profile people in there, like you can other places. And he's in a rebuild mode right now, and then you have the emotional, the season and stuff to that effect. It's an interesting dynamic here. I have no doubt in my mind Kenny Dillingham's going to leave Arizona State at some point. But here's what his agent should be telling him. 1, you can make more money. Your assistants can make more money. You'll get more NIL money on top of it. But you have 2-3 bad seasons, nobody's going to be knocking on your door except for Tarleton State, UTEP, and stuff like that. And you got to restart. Hit while the iron's hot. Set your family up for the next. You go to Michigan, you get a 5-year deal. You get blown out in year 3. Yeah, it sucks. But it makes it a lot easier when all of a sudden you're $10 million and then you can go back to a school that you can love again and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's what his agent should, if he's doing his job, is talking to him about. And you can't tell me, especially as a young guy, right? Forget about him being old in a later contract. A young guy who wants to win, but then a young guy that's looking at it going, I can make that much money. This guy was a stretch to come coach at Arizona State when he was hired. And now he's the hot commodity. Yeah, he's like the ugly kid in school that comes back after like sophomore year and he's got the growth spurt and hair's all flowing now and he's all dressing all cool and girls are paying attention. You change, man.
Yeah. Look. I'll be the first. I've said it publicly before. I was not on board with Kenny Dillingham's hire. I even told him that after last season, after his during his season of greatness last year. I wasn't comfortable with Arizona State being hit with sanctions relative to the previous coaching staff with Herm Edwards. I wanted a coach with experience that could navigate us through some tumultuous down times. I wasn't happy with a brand new head coach cutting his teeth for the first time at the collegiate level. He's never been a head coach before, so I wasn't. But man, has he really turned the fortunes, the culture, everything at Arizona State. So as an alumnus, I'm just so peacock proud and happy to have this man on board. And so, again, like I said earlier, I looked at his introductory press conference and said, this dude really that's the best thing I could say about him at the time. Yeah. He wants this job. He loves this.
Oh, he
this
wanted
is home
the job.
for his. This is it for him. You know, I really bought that. But what I'm seeing now, I just don't feel that I agree with Steve and you. I think he could pack up and leave at any point.
Yeah.
So
even though his sister lives 3 houses
and
down,
his kids,
his parents
you know
live
what?
around the corner.
You're making $10 million a year, Dale. Planes fly, and you can get a private jet for the family to bring them back home and stuff to that effect. That's what people don't get. Is these coaches have access to private jets at a whims of their wives do, their kids do. That's part of the gift in those big programs. Not at ASU, but at Michigan, LSU, Alabama. You have those gifts given to you to where an hour's notice, your kids can be back here home, babysat by their cousins.
I'm just hoping, like Dale mentioned, Lincoln Riley at USC, mentioned Kalen DeBoer over at Alabama. I just hope one of those two guys wind up going to Michigan or somebody else.
I think Alabama is a bigger threat than Michigan is. He's coached in the SEC. Alabama, is what it is. I think Alabama has NIL problems. They don't have as much money as you think they do. But I think Alabama's a bigger threat. But the bigger threat is, we talked about yesterday, James Franklin could step up to the NFL after this year, right? Giants are hot on him, reportedly.
Not James.
Marcus Freeman. Sorry, Notre Dame there. Ryan Day, he wins another championship. There's an NFL. I know he was in the NFL circles last year. You mean to tell me he can't step up into the NFL ranks as well? And tell me those two schools don't have a lot of pull. You think Michigan has a lot of pull with money and stuff like that. Those are the big threats. So 46 coaches, I looked it up, Dale. So Nick Saban retired from Alabama. And that means Kalen DeBoer went to Alabama from Washington. Then Jed Fish left Arizona. I mean, Arizona knows this feeling better than anybody, right? They were safe with him until that move. Then Brent Brennan came over from San Jose State. Obviously, Alabama's staff left there. This one's so far in its reach. South Alabama had to get a new head coach because Saban retired. Because Buffalo had to get a head coach because get coaches because their coaches moved around after Saban retired. This is the reach of these types of moves after the hiring cycle, especially. These are the moves that can in Haft and stuff like that. So 46 actually moved, they say, in terms of big name coaches. But according to The Athletic, 400 actual coaches and staffers were affected by one guy retiring. And this Michigan move alone is going to have that same ripple effect when it's all said and done. I'm not even convinced Michigan's going to hire a big name guy with all their problems. Right. They might go with another Sharon Moore instead of going for a Harbaugh or somebody big. From that perspective,
honestly, I thought that would be their direction, is to go back to the NFL. I know Harbaugh is an alumnus of Michigan, but I so I understood that move. But that's what I was thinking that they would do.
I don't. If they don't have a college coach wrapped up here in the next, I'd say 3 weeks or so, I would agree with you. They're looking at an NFL coach to take over. And they have to wait, obviously, till season comes closer to an end and stuff like that. So I think the timetable is going to tell us everything.
Do you think there's any way, Coop, you could call them up and say, hey, there's a coach here in Arizona we'd give to you for free? We might actually give you a little bit of money?
Wait, which one? Drew Penzing or Jonathan Gannon? Which one are we talking about?
Take a boat, baby. Take a boat.
Throw Rollison there while we're at
it. Jonathan Gannon is a whole different subject altogether. I know we've talked about it on this show. I've already named his replacement from my standpoint.
But before we get into the NFL, Let's talk about the other coach at ASU.
Oh, Bobby Hurley.
Yeah.
Hey,
Are you first of all?
Before you, well, yeah, ask your question here, but I want to show you this video before you say anything else.
Are you just yes or no? Are you a Hurley fan?
I am.
So you're fine with him being here after 10 years?
I am.
After all the success and the condos in Dayton to make sure that for every fourth year,
The failures of 5 stars, 4 stars, and putting giant teams together, and just the utter failure that's happened here. You're good with it.
Yeah. Look. As you've already noted, I've been here for 34 years covering sports, and Arizona State basketball is included in that.
yeah.
It doesn't matter who you bring. I mean, they've tried the Bill Frieders, the Rob Evans, the Herb Sendeks, the Steve Pattersons. I mean, they have, and it's always the same thing. Bobby Hurley, next to Bill Frieder, probably the biggest name that they have been able to bring in here.
Right.
But unlike Frieder, Hurley can connect with the young athletes, with the athletes today, because of his resume as a player.
Kids today don't care what his resume is.
I'll tell you what. If
They don't know who Duke was back then.
It means something when you're bringing in other coaches whose resume don't match up, but they aren't doing anything special. Look, we've been here forever. The University of Arizona owns the state collegiately in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what coach. I have seen coach after coach after coach. It's always the same darn thing. So
Yeah, failure when you get to the grade
Bobby
8.
with Bobby Hurley, I'll say this: he's been able to bring in some 5-star, highly regarded, highly recruited athletes. Matter of fact, when you can steal a player from the University of Arizona in this state, he took Josan Sanin from U of A to Arizona State. That's saying something. Now, here's the deal. Here's the bad luck part of that. In both cases, I don't care if you're talking about Josh Christopher, Marvin Bagley, or you can go to even who they had this past year.
Christopher Bagley. Well, yeah, the kid that got caught up in the gambling scandal.
No, but they always wind up getting hurt. There's injuries that curtail their season. And so I'm looking at what we're looking at this year. And look, and trust me, I've seen this act before, where you win big, and like they're doing in the non-conference schedule, when the conference season hits, they nosedive.
Yeah.
And so that could very well take place again, because the Big 12 is loaded.
We were looking at that yesterday.
Yeah, they have, I believe, three teams alone in the top 10.
Yeah,
4 in the top
BYU,
10.
Texas Tech, and
4.
Arizona. Oh, the 4. I think Houston's in there,
Yeah,
right?
Houston's in there for sure.
That's 4 because BYU was right there at 10,
Yeah.
right? Something
Right.
like that,
So it's a loaded conference for sure, but it'll be loaded for whoever you bring in. And I just don't feel that person is going to have any credentials bigger than Bobby Hurley. I just don't. And look, you could talk about Bobby Hurley's demeanor on the sideline, this, that, and the other. And you want to talk about a dichotomy, or you talk about the polar opposite. This guy right here is the one that has me watching Jonathan Gannon, who says nothing.
The statue.
And so he's upset about the statue.
Yeah.
And now you want to berate Bobby Hurley for his antics.
Kobe, play it. There's no sound to this, so you can keep talking while he plays it. This is just utter disgusting display in the first half of this game. This isn't a coach. This isn't a serious coach, Bruce. This isn't a guy that cares about his team. This is a guy that's a selfish a-hole who's yelling and telling the refs what jerks they are and a-holes they are. This is a guy that's lost his edge, and it's embarrassing. And how do you expect that guy to lead college kids when you act like that? If he looks at a college kid and says, "You can't act like that on the court," if I'm a college kid, I'm looking back and going, "Shove it, coach," because we see how you act.
I'm telling you, I watched the game. I understood. See, the announcers didn't understand. They thought he was more upset over a non-call here. No. It was one call that led to this one. Santiago Truitt was on a break. They gave the ball to him on a fast break. The Santa Clara defender was running side by side. It stuck a leg out to try to draw an offensive foul. It was clearly, even the replay showed, clearly a block. but they called it a charge. So now back at the other end, he expects ASU, who was in better position, to get that charge call, but they called a block. So now he lost it. So look,
You can't do that in the first half of the game. You can't do that.
I'm not trying to condone what he did or anything like that, but it's Bobby Hurley. Sometimes you know who you're getting, and I understand who he is. He's an explosive, volatile personality on the sideline, but at least he's not a statue, right?
Well, you got to find a happy medium is my argument here. Well, here's the other side of it. Then we played yesterday, Coach Irvin, right? A guy that's never had a head coaching position. It comes from the AIA range. His dad's well known in that range.
I was worried about that. I was worried about that brother's health.
Right.
I mean, my gosh.
We played. Did you see the TNT thing after we played it yesterday, where Jamal Mashburn and literally legit guys that came up through AIA Chicago were just reverent to this guy. He was happy-go-lucky. He was just like, I'm just happy to be here. I set up the defense. We changed the defense around. He actually sat down and talked about the changes he made.
Sure.
And Bobby Hurley's not man enough to be there for his team in the second half because he's got to call referees a-holes and all these other names to get tossed. There's a professionalism involved in this. And if your assistant coach can step into your role and coach better basketball than you can because you have to have a hissy fit, it's embarrassing and it's sad and it's time to move on from Bobby Hurley.
I disagree with you wholeheartedly on everything that you're talking about. Look. We've seen coaches get ejected. Yeah, I don't care what level.
Not like that. Not like that.
Oh, what?
Not like that.
Well, and then we've seen assistants step in and they guide the ship the rest of the way. And
name a head coach that did what he did there, where he had to be held back. He yelled at the guy on his own staff holding him back. Don't hold me back. He lost control.
Look. Like I said, when you make a hire, you have to know who you're bringing in.
Yeah, and keep him for 10 years.
Bobby
apparently.
Hurley's his personality or his demeanor. It is what it is.
His brother's the same way, but his brother doesn't lose control like that.
You either like it or you don't. And I'm telling you, from an ASU alumnus standpoint, I just don't think that Arizona State can go out and do better than Bobby Hurley in a higher standpoint. You want to talk about behavior and demeanor
finishing
and
last.
all this stuff
We can't get better than finishing last in the conference. Okay, we hire another coach and we finish last in the conference again, Bruce. Nothing changes.
They finished last in the conference with a team that had the 5th rated recruiting class in the nation. When Arizona State has the 5th rated recruiting class in the nation, and you know that they got hurt. I mean, the big center tore his ACL.
Yeah.
Sannon, the best shooter, was out for.
It's always an excuse, though. This is the problem.
Hey, did those things happen?
Everybody gets hurt.
Hey, look, I didn't see anybody at Arizona getting lost for the year
Well, does that say something?
Yeah,
it's probably because their bodies probably break down because Bobby Hurley's yelling at them, Bruce.
I'm telling you, injuries do happen, but here's the deal. My question to you and Dale.
Every year it's a new
question
excuse.
to you and Dale, do you think there's another coach out there that can come into Arizona State and bring in the 5th rated recruiting class nationally?
Well,
just answer that.
And I'm going to tell you, that is the thing that's always in the back of my mind. When somebody fires somebody, what's your plan? What is your plan? Do you have somebody in mind?
Thank you, Dan.
And
they
again,
have no one.
They
have no one.
As much as Bobby, the Bobby Hurley that bothers me is the Bobby Hurley who is up, jacket off, tie untied in the first 2 minutes of the game.
Phrasing.
Because when I'm looking at it,
I agree with you.
you are not doing yourself or your players any you're not helping them out at all when you're like that. But when you put it that way, I don't know who else you could entice to come here. I don't that would be better. You wouldn't know it by what they've already done. You might know it once they get here. But no, you're taking a big chance to try and get somebody better.
ASU is not a destination place for basketball.
No. How is Tucson? How is Tucson a destination place for basketball?
It wasn't, but they had the foresight at that time to bring in some guy named Lute Olson, and he turned it into a blue blood, a national power. And so now Tucson would be a destination place just based on the tradition that was and standard that was put forth by Lute Olson. Anyone that comes in after him, they're gravy training, if you will. I mean,
Well, they have to still work hard.
They
but
do,
yeah,
they do. But I'm
they-
just saying that
Right.
tradition that set them up for that. All right, Arizona State doesn't have that.
No.
And so I think I'm better off with a Bobby Hurley, who, I mean, twice there was a top 10 class he brought in with Christopher, who was a first round
and
pick.
nothing.
with Bagley
Show
and stuff.
for it. Great,
But-
bring in all
hey,
the number
hey,
ones in
hey,
the world.
hey,
It's like the
hey.
Cardinals. Get 1,000 number 4 draft picks, and none of them can
Hey,
play in the NFL.
hey,
Who cares?
hey, when he did the Christopher and the Bagley deal,
That
there
was
was
COVID
some
year,
there was
too.
there was I was going to say there's something called COVID that took that away, and so that you can't. You
And they didn't
can't
want to
bl-
be there too.
Well,
Christopher
they-
didn't want to be
well,
there.
Well, he was one and done. We already knew he was one and done. So the COVID, he was one and done.
yeah.
Was that Christopher really a first round draft?
He was a
pick?
first round
Yeah.
pick by the Houston Rockets, number 13 overall.
Yeah. Bagley.
I
went-
did not realize.
Bagley did.
Bagley did not
He
wind
didn't
up.
go right.
no.
He didn't do anything right. His brother.
He,
did,
Matt,
but
he
not
he,
him.
he transferred out
Yeah.
of Arizona
But I mean, it was a
State.
COVID year. But I mean, that team just didn't mesh, right? They didn't want
Well,
to be
you
there.
don't
and
know.
stuff like
It
that.
was a. How do you know it wasn't going to mesh right?
I'll say this: if a guy like Christopher wants to come to your program and he's bypassing Arizona's and Duke, it's because he doesn't want to work hard. Probably he just wants to come and coast.
Stop it!
And then he's like, I'll go to Bobby Hurley.
Look. They still want to put forth the tape to justify them being a number one pick.
I'm just getting a dig in there. Bobby Hurley isn't a bad coach. He just can't seem to put it together. Can you do better? I don't know. But how many ADs now have we had that have gone on local radio stations and stuff and been like, well, I talked to Bobby Hurley about his antics on the sideline, and he promises to be better. And then Bobby Hurley yesterday on his, he was on 98.7, one of those shows, and he says, people think I've been thrown out of like every game I've been in. I've only been thrown out like 4 times. Well, we all think that because I had season tickets for a while, and when we were at the radio station, I went to a lot of games with the tickets and stuff like that. And he's not wrong. Opening tip goes off, and on the sideline, you can watch it like clockwork. His jacket's flying off, launching across the bench. He's undoing his tie all angrily. And it's like they just threw the ball up, coach. Take a deep breath there, Tiger.
Yeah, look.
Stressful.
If a recruit is going to Arizona State to play for Bobby Hurley, they know who he is.
Right.
There's no getting around that.
Well, is there something as you take I believe teams take after their coach, which is part of the Cardinals' problem. This team is unemotional hacks and stuff like that. They just stand there.
Hold
they're
on,
just
you
statues.
can't. But you can't say.
But then you go to basketball.
You can't make fun of both.
Well, no, they got to find something in the middle. It's the same thing with like Mike Stoops down in Arizona. That guy was a butthead on the sideline, and I couldn't stand it. But you got to find something in between. But guys take after your coach. And last year we saw where ASU players lost control multiple times, especially Freeman. Lots of control. And ended up getting kicked off the team, and then we find out he's in a gambling scandal. So we find out that stuff. But dude, take a deep breath, man. It's not that serious. And your assistant coach outcoached you when you came in.
How do
when
you
you came
think,
in there,
dude? His assistant coach is coaching the same players that came to Arizona State because of Bobby Hurley. And coming into that game, Arizona State is 8-2.
I don't know. Coach Irvin's my guy.
They have beat
Love you, Coach.
They've beaten 2 SEC teams in Texas and Oklahoma. They're in the finals of the Maui Classic championship game where they lost to USC. Their only other loss was to Gonzaga. They play UCLA, I believe, tomorrow night.
Yes, they do.
Top 25 team.
Yep.
Look,
25 on the dot.
Look. I'm not trying to throw shade on Nick Irvin or anything like that. I thought.
Love you, Coach Irvin.
Yeah. I thought he did a masterful job. I mean, I was more worried about his health. He was sweating so profusely and stuff. I'm like, dude, you gotta, But I loved his emotion. He was fired up, and his players got fired up behind him. So I'm not.
Yeah, look how they responded to him. That's my point.
But
Bobby Hurley gets kicked out, and the team goes on a 9-point disadvantage.
But the problem is, can Nick Irvin get those same players?
I'm
to the school that
I'm not
Bobby Hurley did?
advocating that he become the head coach. I'm joking around about that. Hey, but I did get Bruce to admit here that Arizona State's preseason here, this non-conference schedule has been really good. You just admitted that.
It has, but that's been the
I
norm
know.
under Bobby
And then it
Hurley.
falls apart.
Right.
And
See, I have no expectations. Last year I expect him to finish right in the middle of the Big 12.
well, he was predicted to
stuff
finish
like that.
last,
I know.
and they're
Well, this
predicted
year.
to finish last again this year.
And I expect him to be in the middle again. Last year they disappointed because of injuries. And all that.
Yeah.
I'm just tired of
They
injuries being an excuse all the time. Bruce.
Well, look. I'm not trying to use him as an excuse, but when you tear your ACL, and
disagree.
and I can't think. I would keep losing that center's name. He was
Quentin.
yeah.
He, by the way, he's out. I think he went to Kansas, but he's out this year.
No.
too.
I think he's at Kentucky.
Oh,
Right?
Kentucky, yeah, but he's out. He's
He's still not healthy. I mean, it took because he tore.
He was
it.
17, yeah.
Yeah, he was 17 and he tore it in this 20. It was early January,
Yeah, it
so
was,
it's still around a year. So yeah, he wants to make sure he's completely healthy. But
I
yeah,
don't know. It's just frustrating watching
Jaden
watching this
Quaidens,
happen.
yeah.
It's just frustrating watching it happen. But Arizona, man, number one still. And I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure they're the best team in the country because you got Michigan, Texas Tech. You can throw Gonzaga into that conversation, Purdue into that conversation. UConn has one loss. That was to Arizona when they weren't healthy.
Tommy Lloyd has done an extraordinary job, and down at Tucson. I mean, he really has. I mean, he's to me. He's elevated the program more than what Sean Miller
I
had.
agree with you on that.
And so, granted, he's not. He's their standard or their goal is the Final Four,
Right.
and so it's a different standard than at Arizona State.
Right.
And so he's going to get players to come to look at Arizona just because of their history, their tradition.
Well, they go out and they pick their players. Arizona State has to recruit kids in. Arizona goes out and has to tell kids no.
Yeah, well, okay, and
That's the difference.
And here's the deal. The thing that I've noticed this year about Bobby Hurley's team at Arizona State, he went out and he started
International.
getting a lot. Yeah, these international kids, and I'm telling you,
mid-major kids.
their next pro prospect from Arizona State is Masamba Diop.
You're gonna say Diop? Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
there's
so
no
much fun to
question.
watch.
There's no question.
But he also went and got mid-major kids. We've played the clips on here where these mid-major kids are like, nobody counted us in. We're mid-majors. We're just happy to be here. We're going to keep playing hard and do all that stuff.
Like Mo
And-
Odom from
Yes,
Pepperdine. I mean, the kid is. I mean, when I listen to a couple of his post game interviews, it's almost like he's the coach. I mean, he
Which is
gets
what
into there,
amazes
his
me.
players behind. So he's a true leader.
Right.
And so I noticed in the game against Santa Clara, he scored his first points in the game with like under a minute to play. And so, but he's yet their leading scorer. So he understood that, hey, this game is not flowing for me. But I'm watching not only Diop, but all of a sudden, Alan Mukeba is really starting to play with some physicality and with some touch around the basket. Gerbevich, the 6'9", I guess, was he a small or is he a power forward? I don't know, but he's a nice outside shooter.
I think he plays the 4, but don't quote me on that.
Muessen, who backs up or comes off the bench at point guard. I mean, a lot of these international kids are showing out. Santiago Truitt is starting to show a lot of promise as well. So Marcus Adams, I'm like, man. And then this kid that I saw that they had signed out of the NAIA, Pig Johnson. I'm like, dude, Pig plays with a lot of speed, a lot of emotion, a lot of heart. And I'm like, I like this team.
Yeah, this team
I
is
really
fun.
do.
This
I
team
like
is
this
fun
team.
to watch. I've been equating it, saying if you're like the Suns this year, you're gonna love this ASU team. They're very similar.
That's a good analogy. You're
I've
absolutely
been touting that for a few weeks now.
You're absolutely right. I
Tune
agree
into
with
this
that.
Arizona State
I agree
team
with
because they play hard. Even if they don't win,
Yeah.
they play hard and they're fun to watch out there. I think I keep saying Texas Tech. I mean Iowa State. So Arizona's 1, Iowa State's 4,
Yeah, you're
Houston's
right.
8,
It is Iowa
DYU's 10. And then I keep saying Texas Tech, but Texas Tech is 19 as well. So I don't know. We'll have to keep our Bobby Hurley.
Well, I'm still a fan.
Taylor.
If you can get me someone in better than Bobby Hurley,
Those antics, just the sideline antics, just drive me. But I'll say this: he does have the team this year. That I think this is the first team that won't take over that persona. If you know what I mean. Just watching their press, it's like they're happy to be here and playing in college basketball and getting this opportunity.
Yeah,
and they play as a team. And I think this is a team that can overcome his freak out issues that he has.
Yeah,
whereas other teams, I think, fed off of it. That's what I don't like about it.
Yeah, and you know, for some reason, I just think that these international kids that are here, I don't think they would be one of those transfer portal people. I think they would probably show a little bit more loyalty, and I like.
Well, because
the
they're
way
not
they
here
play.
for the money, and
Right.
like American players are. Let's just leave it at that. Hey, let's take a quick break here. Come on back. We got to do some NFL talk.
Bobby
Hey.
Hurley, you know they know I'm right.
Hey,
Go
Arch
Devils.
Manning. Yeah, Coach Irvin, you're my boy. The Arch Manning's coming back. So he's not going to be your Cardinals first round draft
So,
pick this year.
thank God.
Cardinals talk coming up next.
Fuck it, I gotta leave.
Well, that's the thing. Well, we got the stuff here for you, Bruce. As we're talking a little auditing or editing stuff here during that break.
And Dale just got up and
It's
bolted
what he
on us.
does. He got so mad there he left. That's what Dale does, man. Hey, since Dale's gone right here, I texted you yesterday to give you a heads up. Richard Opert has the story today. And I got wind of it yesterday. I got wind of it early yesterday, and I don't break news here, so I kind of waited, and then I saw a couple of rumors out there. But Desert Ridge, who I am very critical of their athletic department and their athletic director, I've seen some things. We've talked about it here on the show and stuff like that. But I mean, I got to kind of give him some props here, and I don't know I don't know the hiring process of getting head coaches. I know you have to apply to the district and posting, and then they interview you, do all that stuff. Things to that, you have to obviously pass background checks, things to that effect there. But it seems to me if you're going to hire, somebody named Mike Smith out there, but more importantly, you're bringing in his dad as well as your assistant coach. If you don't know, that's his dad is Lovie Smith, Bears back in the day, Houston. Been to a Super Bowl as a head coach and a defensive coordinator. Of course, coached, I think, at Illinois there for a few years as well. To get these guys into here, it almost seems, doesn't it seem like to you, at least to me, there's an in here, right? Like they know him or somebody knows him and he wants to come and coach high school. So that's how they go. Or does Lovie Smith and Mike Smith just sitting there one day and they go, hey, with all these openings, why don't we just apply at Desert Ridge and see what happens?
Well, look, Desert Ridge, when it first opened, I mean, you talk about athletic non-success.
Yeah.
I mean, it was embarrassing to watch them get beat up. I mean, the lopsided scores. It didn't matter what
You're
sport.
talking about on the football side?
Well, yeah.
Well,
It didn't matter what. I mean, basketball. I've seen some
they're
really
basketball.
horrible play. But Jeremy Hathcock came in and settled
now
that
at Mesa.
program down. Yeah, and they started having some success. And so I was glad to see that.
Made the playoffs
Well,
every year he
yeah.
was there, and then he left in 2020, and then back to the overs.
Yes, they are. And so, I know Lovie Smith is a name. I'm not sure about. I mean, that district
Oh, it
over
sounds
there,
miles,
that
not
area
miles.
has gotten so competitive.
Well, 'cause I live out there, so I'm familiar. And I have Autumn, my girlfriend's daughter goes. All kids go to this school, so I'm close to this school and things to that effect. Even though my kids don't go there, but yeah, I mean, you got that. You got Eastmark out there now.
Right.
You got a couple ALAs, another big ALA being built. Queen Creek.
The Queen Creek schools. Look. It used to be.
Yeah.
You had Red Mountain. You had Skyline.
you had
you
Skyline.
had Desert Ridge. all
Skyline
right?
just
and
lost their
so
coach.
and so now the valley continues to grow, and so now we're moving further
It's
east where
landlocked.
Queen Creek. You mentioned ALL, Queen Creek, and Eastmark and stuff.
Yeah.
That
Prisman
area,
High School's down there now.
Yeah, that area just continues to develop and grow. And
They're
so
opening an ALA Radiance this year on top of it, which is a couple miles from Desert Ridge and
Right,
stuff.
right.
Yeah, I'm not saying. I mean, we've seen this side, like Saguaro. They just got their coach done. They have bigger issues, but he had some really high-powered assistants. Like he lost an assistant. I just forgot his name, Dale. He went to UCLA at the end of the year.
Mazzoni.
Mazzoni, right? So it doesn't always work out that you get a high profile. But obviously, he's the assistant coach. His son's who coached in the NFL also with him,
He
Miles.
is, and if he could have, and for me, if I were advising anyone, because I mean, look, even the schools in that Chandler district.
Yes.
I mean, dude.
Well, I mean, Perry just got rid of their coach, and
Yeah,
Perry
look.
couldn't stick out their head up in that Chandler. district.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
I just think it's if you're looking to establish yourself as a name, I would have gone to the West Side.
Well, that's what I'm getting to you at, because you guys obviously know high school and that side, especially you know that side more than I do. I was talking to a different high school yesterday. I kind of alluded to it earlier. And I was talking about this, And and even the guy I was talking to was like, really, they got him? And you could almost like see his wheels like going like, well, that's an interesting move there and stuff to that effect. And it's just like it's fascinating to me, like you said, that seems like. However, I can tell you, I have a lot of interactions and asking a lot of questions yesterday. Kids that were going to transfer, that were good on this team, thinking about staying now. Obviously, I know of a couple that were going to Red Mountain, a couple that were going to Queen Creek, a couple that were going to ALA. Now, we're staying now. This is the move, though, that you could get kids to either go to Desert Ridge or the good kids in the feeder systems actually stay because they're losing those kids right now with going 0-10 this year and 1-8 the year before and 1-9 the year before, stuff to that effect. So that it could work out. I'm not saying that the coaching, because we've seen it fail a lot, but that school can only be successful
if it's having that type of effect already and they've yet to coach a game, well, then that's a win.
They're having to meet the coach tomorrow night or Thursday night, I think. They haven't even, just out there. But that's the thing. I can tell you right now, a couple kids, like their parents during the season last year, during games, were telling me their kids were moving to other schools.
Yeah.
During the season. And now those same parents are like, oh no, now we're gonna stay and look at this. It's gonna bring that power in the draw. Now, does it work? Is the bigger question.
Look, at the end of the day, when you line up 11 on 11 on Friday nights, I mean, a lot of those schools and those
they're in a hard
kids
deal.
In those schools,
they're in Mesa, Red Mountain, that conference. It's not easy.
As you talked about, Hathcock moved to. He's now at Mesa High.
Well, he went up north first. Yeah, he did. Blue Chip or something.
Well, Blue Ridge. That's where he played high school. So he came back. He played for Paul Moore, the great late Paul Morrow up there, and he's come down and established himself as a great coach here in the Valley. But now he's at Mesa, and Mesa had some transfers from California. Yeah. That made all the difference in the world. I mean,
I saw them play Desert Ridge the week those kids got here. They weren't eligible yet, but they got here, and you could see them on the side, and they dwarfed everybody at Mesa. You could tell who the kids coming in from California were just standing on the sideline. So I didn't see them actually play, but they actually did well, got into the playoffs, and
they did well. I mean, they narrowly lost. They had a really close playoff.
They came back,
loss.
right? I think it was, yeah.
And so, I just know that Jeremy Hathcock and what he can do and his reputation. So I know Mesa now is going to throw their hat into the ring of East Valley powers.
Well, this is what fascinates me because, like I said, how does he end up at Desert Ridge? I guess that's the question I got to keep asking to get it.
Sure.
Because it's like, I'm looking at it from their perspective of, well, maybe we can grow this program. But like I said, I've had some dealings with that athletic director. I've seen some dealings with him. It just doesn't seem like a nice. So I'm kind of just like, like there's got to be an in here where it was like, hey man, come help us out here and help our student kids out and stuff to that effect.
Coop, tell me
fascinated by it.
As you look at like a Jeremy Hathcock, a Richard Taylor Centennial, guys who've been at a place for a long time. When they're there, they have success. What is there 2 or 3 different characteristics about those coaches that jump out to you over the years?
Well, look. I know Richard Taylor's let his son take over for him at Centennial now, but I kind of disrespected his program when they moved up. Remember when they were in 5A, they moved up to 6A, and I just said, there's no way that he's going to have the same success at the 6A level that he did at 5A, because I think they were even 5A too, and they were like I think they won like consecutive, maybe 2 or 3 in a row. I'll be darned if they didn't go up to 6A
and win that one too.
Yeah, so Richard Taylor, I mean, what he's been able to do at that program in the West Valley at Centennial is nothing short of a miracle. And what he did is that he set a new standard up there. That Liberty accepted that challenge under Coach Thomas. And now they went back-to-back opens, and they lost now in the open final here, semifinals, excuse me. So that standard that Richard Taylor established, and you just have to give this man credit for what he's doing. He was able to keep kids there in his district, and then actually had some kids that wanted to transfer from the east side to. I mean, that just doesn't happen.
Half those Saguaro kids last year went to Centennial. That's what made them run.
It doesn't happen, but it happened there. So you got to tip your hat. And coaching does matter, and he's one of those guys, one of those few guys that I've seen that have really, really, made a difference.
But that's what I'm asking. So see, he did that. You talked about Hathcock. In a crowded area
Like
that
Desert
you
Ridge,
have
yeah.
a bunch of different choices. Have you ever noticed the thing? What stands out about
geez.
this coach that makes the guys want to stay there versus?
That's
Is
you
there
know,
not?
Dale, that's a very, very good, very, very good question.
Maybe think about it. You can come back next Tuesday.
It's tough to put a finger on, but yeah, I mean, all I can look at is the results.
Because I know Hathcock really
Yeah.
well, and when he was there, they were always in the hunt.
Yeah.
Always
Yeah.
in the hunt, and then he immediately after he leaves,
Yeah,
immediately,
it's no joke. Yeah.
Well, and that's what's fascinating is that's Desert Ridge's problem, and I said that it's kind of becoming Queen Creek High School's problem because there's more feeder school, like ALA is opening up, as I said. It's going to affect them. And Queen Creek's high school athletics are actually really good. Their softball program, again, continues to be so. They got a couple other schools there. And it's amazing to me to sit back. Now, Chrisman High School has a known coach that was here, left, came back again. But then, Castile's coach leaves Castile last year, kind of forced out, goes to Dobson, and then struggles at Dobson. And it's just you have to have that personality to keep kids there.
He struggled at Dobson from a win-loss record,
That's
but
what
it's still, because they had a losing record.
Yeah.
But it was an improvement.
It was
I mean,
over
this
before. Well,
this
when the
school-
other coach is diddling little
the
kids and
Mustangs are
gets
going
arrested,
they're going winless or maybe win a
Yeah.
game. But yeah, I
But-
mean, they were
But it's
competitive.
same
Yeah.
thing with Mesa though. Is Hathcock's going to be able to get kids to transfer there
Yeah.
and stay there in the feeder systems and not move to those other schools? That's what Desert Ridge needs, and to that effect. And it takes special coaches to do that.
It's surprising to hear that Lovie Smith and his son, who I have never noted to have any type of ties in Arizona, have come in and immediately are making an impact in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just telling you the feedback I've gotten on that hire. At the end of the season this year and last year, it was like we're leaving, we're out of here. Like even during the season this year, we're out of here. All this stuff. It was like instantly yesterday that came out. As the rumor hit, started reaching out to people, started talking to people, and it was like instantly people had peps in their steps. And this program has been terrible for the 5 years I've been going to the games and dealing with it.
When Dale Hellestray has his name tied to Scottsdale Christian Academy and they win titles, something's
He was
amiss,
there for a lot of years before they started winning titles, Q. That's all I'm gonna say.
and then what's going to happen is they won 3. Now they get one more year in 2A, and they go 3A, and the difference between 2A and 3A is mind-boggling when you look at the size of the players.
Let's get into the Cardinals here as we're running late on the show, but I mean that's just an unbelievable. And part of me is I'm more fascinated by So I get it. Lovie Smith's like, hey, I'll help you out. I'll help you out, son. Let's get you a job. NFL.
Right.
Last coach in the NFL in 2022, both of them, and I'll help you out. I'll become that. I'm retired. I'll love to come work with you with high school kids and help you out on that stuff. But I'm just more fascinated on how you end up at that position. At that school, and it just amazes me how that works.
Yeah. It's not like Philip Rivers going back to where he grew up to be a high school coach
At
and
a
stuff
private,
like that.
Christian school or Catholic school or
You
whatever.
just wonder
it is,
if
so.
Lovie Smith retired out here or.
Well, okay. So I've done some events. Wonder how sick I've been on this. So they posted. Richard Obert has the picture on there. That's a design of a house that's out by me. Is what I'm saying.
On Queen Creek.
Is Lovie Smith a neighbor of mine and I just didn't know it? Did I not know it yet? Is that
I
what's
have
happening?
a feeling he might have some gates you have to drive through to get to his house.
Well, there's gates. My house doesn't have gates, but there's gates in other neighborhoods around me here. I'm a man of the people. I don't do gates. You can walk up to my front door and bother me all you want because I don't answer it out there. Cardinals lose, of course, another loss. What can you say about it other than down 10-0 before the offense even gets the ball and all that? Jonathan, the statue Gannon does what he does out there. Can you add anything that's different before we get into these clips here from yesterday's press conference?
Well, I'll just say this, that it has become – I had Cam Cox at Channel 12. He tweeted me a post that it had Trey McBride. It said McBride in, I guess, 9 games. It caught like maybe 9 touchdowns from Brissett In 3.5 years, he caught 6 from Kyler.
Remember last year, he didn't have any touchdowns going into the last game. They were trying to feed him touchdowns.
And I told Cam, I said, Cam, that post and you are missing tremendous perspective. So I broke it down for him.
Okay.
I said, I'm not going to count 2022 because that was his rookie season, and he was backing up some guy named Zach Ertz.
Yeah. And he wasn't.
I
very
said,
good.
but let's go from 23, 24, and we really can't count 25 because it doesn't go to where I'm going. But in 23 and 24, there was some guy named James Conner who had over 200 rush attempts, over 1,000 yards rushing, and he had 18 combined touchdowns rushing and receiving in those 2 seasons.
They gave him
he
the
caught
ball
40. Yeah, he caught 40. I said. So when you want to talk to me about McBride only catching 6 touchdowns from Kyler over that time, I'm going to tell you that James Conner had 18 touchdowns total in those 2 years.
And Trey was a target of Kyler
right.
at the beginning of this season.
I said, and let's look at his 23. He caught 81 passes for almost 1,000 yards. Trey McBride did. Last year with Kyler, he caught 111 passes for almost 1,200 yards. And so his catch radius, his ability to catch the ball led to him getting a new contract. I said, you can't, this is not a popularity contest, Cam. I said, it's not about how many touchdowns can I get Trey McBride. How much can I make my team better? I said, I work for a guy named Dale. I do a cast with a guy named Dale Hellestrade. Said, maybe you heard of him. I said, he always talks about that run balance. He talks about that's what the Cardinals had then. They don't have it now. Brissett has to throw the ball more. And we're seeing a guy named Michael Wilson also benefit from being targeted more. But when you have balance, when you have that run pass balance, which the Cardinals don't have, then you're a better football team. And they're not that right now.
It's amazing when you break it down like that because in 1995, Emmitt Smith set the touchdown record. Well, he had 25 touchdowns in the 1995 regular season. Michael Irvin caught 108 balls, 106 balls, some around there. He got tackled at the 5, 4, 3, 2-yard line, probably on 18 of Emmitt Smith's touchdowns. And then, of course, you're going to hand the ball off to Emmitt, and he's going to score the touchdown. They worked hand in hand, but at the end of the day, you see Emmitt with all these touchdowns, Michael not so many. So you're right. It's a combination.
Well, I brought it up to Dale yesterday, and I said, because now Trey has 16 games with at least 5 receptions out there as well. So he beat Travis Kelce's record now, for Trey into this game as well, right? So he's the first tight end in NFL history with 100 receptions in consecutive seasons. And I asked Dale yesterday, and it kind of hit me while I was asking him, why are these teams leaving Trey open so much? He's obviously the number one threat on this team. And then you look at it, I mean, he had a couple catches and he broke some tackles for some 20-yard gains the other day. But Trey's the guy that gets the ball 5-10 yards from the field, and then he's down. He's not one of those break open like Kelce is.
But here's the deal: when you're down 40 to 10, and you're down 35 to 3. You start.
That's at the game. That's at the kickoff.
Yeah. You start. Playing a little.
Well, you play the backside, right?
Yeah.
And then
you start
protect
letting
the
up.
field.
You're going to give up the 10 yards.
Yeah. And so I'm not. And look, and we all know that McBride's a fantastic
I'm not
receiver,
knocking.
and I'm not knocking him at all because I think if you and people could say I'm wearing cardinal rose-colored glasses. I've been accused of that before, but I think he's the best tight end in football. I really
now
do.
he is.
I really do.
Close.
And that's apologies
Maybe
to Brock.
Kittle.
That's apologies to Brock Bowers over it with the Raiders. But the Raiders, like the Cardinals, just suck, and so you don't really see and that's true. You don't really see a lot of his prowess and his ability to just snatch balls out of the air. I'm talking about Brock Bowers now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's got nobody. Brock Bowers has nobody.
But yeah, I think those two are better than Kittle's. I think
Kittle
they're
would be
than
another one I
Laporta.
put up
They're
there, but
better
I
than
think Kittle's taking a step back.
Hockenstein. Yeah, I just think those are your top two tight ends.
Maybe the guy in Detroit, Sam
Laporta.
Laporta. I think he's getting there. He's getting there. No?
He's not better than
Well, he's
McBride
hurt.
or
the
Bowers.
size of Laporta. So let's get into this as we go into overtime here. Yesterday, Jonathan Gannon was asked about his pitch to the owner.
Really? I'm
this
interested
is
in
the first part. It happens quick, Bruce. Here we go.
Okay.
Jonathan Gannon. This is number 1, Kobe. Number one.
Pitch. There's no pitch. I'm concentrating on Atlanta.
No pitch is what he originally said. Now he goes on to other things and comes back to it. But look at that. Look at that body language. No pitch. No. And you hear his voice kind of quake. You guys hear that? Play it again, Kobe, just really quick for me. Listen to his voice carefully. Oh, well, if it sounds up, Kobe.
I'm concentrating on Atlanta.
You hear his voice? You gotta concentrate on Atlanta. Like there's like a little bit of a quiver in that thing as he's talking. He comes back to it later.
He tries to read so much into
No. Well,
things.
listen to this. Then he thinks about it, comes back a few sentences later, goes on to something else, comes back to it. Then he goes and elaborates a little bit more about his daily meetings with of course the owner and stuff like that. We'll get into this in another second, but this is specifically on his pitch to the owner on how he gets to stay a head coach of the Cardinals.
I believe in myself and I believe in our team. And we are at a dip right now and we're going through some adversity. But I do believe in us and we'll get out of the dip. With what you just asked, Greg, it's my job to evaluate everything and see what's working and see what's not. We're very process oriented and, just to change because we've had a bunch of injuries, change how we do things. There's a lot of layers to everything involved, but there's no doubt. I think we've done things throughout the year that we haven't done in the first 2 years. You know what I mean? And then you got to take into account other variables and factors that go into that. So we always laugh. Like if you talk to different coaches or different buddies, like how do you set up the week of practice? How do you set up training camp? All these things, they're all different. Everybody's different. So there's no one way to do it. A lot of different ways to do it, but it is, again, I'm concentrating on Atlanta, but I do have to have a little bit of foresight with, as I'm taking notes how this year has gone. What do we have to take a look at with a critical eye and change? Because if we keep doing the same thing, you keep getting the same result. That's not good by anybody in my seat. So we'll look at that when the time comes.
We had two audible reactions from the audience here, Dale and Bruce.
Well, Steve. First of all, he did something that you've been begging for.
Yeah.
Do some change.
Well,
Can't keep doing the same thing.
But the whole thing was we have a process here, and I talked to other coaches, and they do it differently, and we do it this way. There's no one way to do it. He doesn't talk about the change, and then he says at the end there he references like, "Well, now we've got to reevaluate." You should be reevaluating as the season goes on, Bruce, and making adjustments.
You're absolutely right. But here's my.
You did it when he brought up the dip. You reacted on the dip. He reacted. Dale reacted on when he said, "Well, injuries. We don't change things because of injuries." And then Dale reacted. Two stupid comments by a head coach. But Bruce, you go first.
Yeah. Look. He said more than he's ever said during the course of this season. So I'll give him that much credit.
Yeah.
But it hasn't changed my mind.
So keep in mind, when he said no pitch, that was his first answer to that question. A couple minutes later, he came back to it and gave that more. This is the first time you've seen Jonathan Gannon do that all season. Normally, it's that short answer, move on.
Yeah.
And he sat there with it.
But it still hasn't changed my opinion. He has to go. You cannot bring this man back. Look, we've seen the game, the last home game. Cardinal fans
Rams?
leaving in droves.
They weren't even there to begin with. And Atlanta's going to be worse this weekend.
Yeah, and I'm going to the game, so I might
Well,
be. Me and my family might be the only fans there.
We might be there with you because I can't sell my final two
I
tickets.
think you'll be up in a suite though somewhere, so you won't even know.
Yeah.
And so, but at any rate. You just don't like what you've seen from this team, and look, I can't totally put it all on Gannon because Austin Fort has to take some type of accountability for his lack of ability to bring in playmakers, difference makers. In his 3 years, not a single Pro Bowler has he drafted. His best draft pick so far has been Paris Johnson, though, as you alluded to earlier, Walter Nolan is kind of trending towards that way.
Well, Will Johnson early in the year was really good, and after the injury, he's regressed. Where's he been?
But it's just they need speed. They need playmakers. They need makers, particularly on the offensive side of the ball.
The reason why I think he needs to go is because of what he said there, and we'll get Dale's thoughts. I got 2 more here coming up, but it's because he said it there. We're a process, or he's unwilling with the ebbs and flows of a season. He's unwilling to change the way they do things, and that to me is alarming because an NFL season is an up and down. Dale, right, Dale? It's an up and down roller coaster. And he's like, we're just doing this no matter what. And that's alarming to me.
Yeah, I've seen enough. And it's time to cut the cord and move on.
So he said with injuries, we don't change with injuries, Dale. You reacted to that.
No, well, I mean, obviously there are a couple things in that statement. I did appreciate him actually elaborating on a few things.
First time. It's amazing that he did it, yeah.
But in lockstep with this way this season's going, they also sent out season ticket renewals.
Yes.
And they wanted first payment by December 15th. And I know personally that they've lost a handful of season ticket holders. So when you're making a head coach hire or general manager hire, whatever that team looks like, you have to look at other things than just your football team. And you're right. Look at what the Los Angeles Rams have done. Les Snead. And they lose arguably the best defensive player in the history of the NFL, but definitely for the last 20 years, for sure, in Aaron Donald. Have they missed a beat?
Yeah, they actually got better.
Have they missed a beat?
Yeah.
I mean, you just look around a little bit, and you don't have to look far because you're looking in your own division how far behind you've fallen of those other 3 teams.
Yeah, and so he wants to talk about injuries. There's no team in the NFC West who has been hampered and hammered by injuries more than the 49ers.
Nobody.
And yet they are a game behind the 11-3 Rams, the 11-3 Seahawks.
Yeah.
They're 10-4. The Cardinals are 3-11.
Yeah.
Dude, I have seen enough of Jonathan Gannon.
It's the adjustment.
Yeah, it's and look,
That bothers
you talked about the season ticket holders and fans not knowing. Look, you have to do something to inject some type of optimism, hope, excitement into the franchise.
Bringing Lovie
Gannon,
Smith.
bringing Gannon back ain't that
No,
choice.
it's not.
And you can't wait to April to see who you get in the draft, even though. As I said before, it should be Jeremiah Love. I mean, I got the Cardinals' entire 7-round draft completed now, so that's
But
another
what
day.
happens if they go all the way up to number 2 by the time this whole thing's over with?
It won't change my first.
No?
It won't change my first round pick.
Okay.
It's Jeremiah Love, running back, Notre Dame.
Here's next. Jonathan Gannon was asked about change again. Here's Jonathan Gannon talking about change.
You know, again, I'm concentrating on Atlanta, but I do have to have a little bit of foresight with, you know, as I'm taking notes how this year's gone, what do we have to take a look at with a critical eye and change? Because if we keep doing the same thing, you keep getting the same result, that's not good by anybody in my seat. So
He can take it down, Kobe.
we'll
He
get
just
that
goes
when
on
the
and
time
does.
comes.
That was the point that I wanted to point. If you keep doing this, they keep doing the same thing. What has changed?
Nothing. I mean, they continue to lose. It's a results-oriented business. It's not a popularity contest.
But I'm okay if they've lost every game by 3 points at the end. You can live with that and say that's a minor change. They're down 10-0 before the offense even takes
They
the
have
field.
given up 40 or more points in 4 of their last 6 games.
Right.
That is a stark contrast
Well,
to losing, 5 in a row by 3
By
or
one
less.
score, yeah. Hey, let me tell you what that is significant and why it's significant to me. Because that means that the locker room, they'll say something to the press, oh, we want him back. But the locker room is not responding. You give up 40 points 4 out of 5 weeks in the National Football League, you're lacking effort.
Yeah.
You're lacking attention to detail. You know, you're not doing your film study, your
From the
game
start
study,
of the
your
game.
practice. None of those things are going on, and they're allowing them to get away with that. I bet on those teams, Bruce. I bet on 2-4 team we shut it down.
Yeah, and I looked at the Cardinals schedule. I said, when's the last time they finished 3-14?
Wilkes here.
Well, it's Steve Wilkes, and to your point, at least he tried to make some changes. There was the offensive coordinator.
They told him no.
that he fired
But that was a struggle to get done. He didn't have his GM for half the season because he was a drunk.
And so, but at least again to your point, they made some change. There was some fire that they fired the offensive coordinator. I can't remember his name. He was from San Diego.
He's been fired everywhere.
Yeah. And so, but they did that. But we haven't seen anything like that with this Cardinals team. And they started the season with a quarterback named Sam. Should I say his last name?
You want to upset people?
He was the first round pick. Won a Heisman Trophy with Oklahoma, and so and they backed up the Brinks truck for this dude. I mean, Sam Bradford is the quarterback we're talking about.
Right.
Backed up the Brinks truck,
Was like
and
a
they
2-year,
drafted
$40 million deal.
and then they drafted some kid named Josh Rosen. Maybe you heard of him. And it was just a colossal mess from the beginning.
The difference in that Sam and that Wilkes year, though, is they didn't have the talent that they have this
This is
year.
the third. Again, this is the third year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is their roster.
The last 2 years, you could kind of envision getting a little better, get one more draft class in, a couple marquee free agents, and this third year was going to be the year.
Yeah.
Well, we'll end on this note here. Jonathan Gannon was asked about his discussions with the owner and his future.
Okay.
At the end of this clip, I left this in here. I was going to do it separate, but I left it in here. The defensive line coach for the Cardinals has accepted the defensive line position at Michigan State.
Yeah, I saw that.
Not a job increase, not a promotion.
Yeah.
He's going down to college for the same position.
Yeah.
Jonathan Gannon's reaction here is amazing to me. Go ahead real fast. You first.
I'm going to say that just tells me he sees the writing on the wall, and so he's getting out while the getting's good.
So keep this in mind when Jonathan Gannon reacts. It's the second half of this clip here, but first on the discussion with owner and then that.
You had any discussions about your future with Michael yet?
Yeah, every day.
What are those discussions?
What are we going to do to get this team rolling?
With Debo leaving, is that a concern to you that a coach would leave for the same job in college?
Yeah, like I said, Teo, nothing to add on that.
Wow.
He was asked twice about it. Both times said nothing to add on that. You have a coach leaving. Usually when a coach has somebody leaving, they go, hey, we wish him the best. We're a success. I'll be rooting for him there at Michigan State.
Is he going to allow him to coach the rest of this season?
We don't know. He wouldn't answer. That's all he would answer about it.
Well,
it's just the
is there
unprofessional
a defensive
nature.
line coach for the Cardinals?
That's issue number two.
Well, I'll
One
tell-
and done, though. He just came in this year. They hired him, and now he's gone to Michigan State, and stuff to that. Just that reaction from Gannon, that's back to those one-word answers and tough guy answers and stuff. But when a coach is leaving, you go, we wish him the best of luck. It's great having him here. There was no comment on that both times he was asked it. There's something
he can't be happy because it can't reflect good. It doesn't reflect good on him at all.
This is my point.
Yeah, and so, but the point that I'm trying to make that if a coach is leaving your NFL level team
with 3 games
with the
to go.
same position to go back down to college, that speaks volumes. He doesn't believe that this staff will be around next year, so he's got to take a job while he
He
can.
doesn't want to go to coaching convention.
Even more so. He's the first year with the Cardinals. Not like he's been there for 6 years. It's like it's time to try something new.
And it should be pointed out that the new coach at Michigan State, Fitzgerald,
He worked
he's had some history with Fitzgerald
I think it's the defensive coordinator he's actually worked for and stuff. So there's a relationship.
Yeah.
But you don't see coaches doing
But you don't leave the NFL, the ultimate, to go down to college.
And if you do, it's
yeah.
not for the
Unless
same
you have
position.
A head coaching job, yeah.
Yeah, or defensive
coordinator.
defensive coordinators, and not for the same job. And you can kind of tell Jonathan Gannon went back to the square, just straight laced answers there. I think he does that when he gets angry.
Well, you wondered. The first thing, 2 things jumped to my mind. Number one, did he go to Gannon and ask him what his future was in Arizona? And Gannon said, I don't know. Did Gannon tell him, we're not bringing you back next year? There could have been a conversation.
Dale, I'm going to put myself in his shoes because I can't pronounce his last name. I mean, I looked at it, I said,
they call him Devo. I just call him Devo because that's his nickname.
All right, I call him Devo. If I'm in Devo's position, I'm like, dude, I got to look out for me and my family.
Right.
Right now, I don't think that we're coming back to Arizona. I
Right.
think we're going to fire this staff. I'm going to talk and accept that job now. Then I'm going to come in and tell the Cardinals coach, hey, look, I accepted this job. I'm out, blah, blah, blah.
Because even if you're going to go do it, you can have that conversation with Michigan State and say, hey, I got to finish up this job. We have this coming, whatever. To do it in this point is shocking that it happened. But then Jonathan Gannon's reaction tells me also. But even then, his talk about his discussions with the owner every day. Talk to the owner, how we're going to get this thing rolling. Did you see his face? Kobe, if you have it again, play it again. Look at his face while he's talking about his discussion with the owner. Look at this.
Michael? Yeah.
Yeah, every day.
What are those discussions?
What are we going to do to get this team rolling?
What I'm going to tell you right now, Bruce, is that is not a man that enjoys his conversations with the owner.
Well,
Because
think
he
that's-
smiled, but he was like, I'm getting out of this as quickly. I'm going to lie through my teeth as I tell you guys.
At some point, if I'm Michael, I stop having those meetings. I mean, he's
That's
saying
the
the
true
same. He's
time.
saying the same damn thing. I mean,
Right.
come on, man.
Yeah.
If I ask that question, and how can I get it going? How many times can you tell me something and it's the same
And the
result
next,
every
the next Sunday,
Yeah.
you see the same thing.
Yeah. That's what's amazing about it. And he just, just that little wily smile of, I'm going to tell you guys not what's happening. I wonder, because he kept saying in the press conference yesterday, I talk to him daily. I'm not too sure he does at this point, right? Because owners are humans too. You don't want to be around the guy that you're about to fire. You want to distance yourself a little bit. You don't want to have that stuff happening. That's it. I've actually heard from head coaches. They go, "Hey, when did you know your time was probably done?" The owner stopped taking my calls. That Wednesday meeting was no longer not there anymore.
Yeah. Gannon thought he had bought himself and his staff a lifeline when they had that quarterback change.
Right.
And so now they're saying, okay, well, Brissett's doing this that Kyler didn't do. But I mean, and again, history tells us Brissett's been in the league 11 years, been a starter for 4 or 5 other teams.
Yeah.
His record, he's lost twice as many games as he's won. He is who he is.
Right.
And so now we're seeing some of those warts that are beginning to surface. We're seeing why he is who he is. And no shade that I'm trying to throw on Brissett. I mean, look, he has some intangibles. He has some things that he does well, but then there's things that he doesn't do well. Teams know that this man likes to hold on to the ball, and if you want to get them out, you just throw pressure at him.
Yeah.
He's a statue back there who wants to hold on to the ball. So there are, and we're seeing that. We're seeing teams pressure this man, and we're seeing those warts. So now it's like, okay, well, maybe Kyler wasn't so bad. Maybe they didn't blitz it like because Kyler's the type. Look, at some point, the bottom line is, regardless who's quarterbacking, you have to have some difference makers for those guys to get the ball to.
You have to change
I can't
things
say it
up
enough.
too. You can't keep running the same stuff all the time. That's predictable and all that stuff. But this was the first press conference, because I watch them closely, as you guys know. This was the first press conference where I went, oh, we're seeing some cracks here. Not necessarily that he's been told anything, but I think maybe he's coming to the realization, maybe in his own mind of, man, we're down 10-0 to start these games. We're getting blown out in these games.
Well,
this is not good.
Well,
for-
maybe like Dale said, the owner is not responding to his
Yeah.
phone calls
I
anymore.
can't remember.
He
I
sees the writing on the
I
wall.
talked to one head coach, and I remember who it was. And I remember, I go, when did you know you were in trouble? And he goes, I had a standing alone meeting. I think it was Wednesday, because I had a standing meeting with the owner every day at 8:00 at this time. He goes, I showed up to one. The owner had another meeting, emergency meeting he had to go to. Didn't think anything of it. Next week, I show up. All of a sudden, I get the email on Monday saying the meeting's been canceled for that week because the owner has something he's got to take care of. He goes, then all of a sudden you don't hear anything anymore. So you show up and you wander around. He goes, you wander around the conference room like, are we having this meeting? And just nobody's in the building. And then all of a sudden the GM is not talking to you as often. He go, and he's like, then you walk in and the secretary's not saying hello to you as much. He goes, you can just tell. You just know when your time is coming.
Wow.
And I was like, that's a good point. You pay attention to those cues. You know your time's going. And he goes, sure enough, last game of the season, before the game, they sat me down and said, after this game, clear out your stuff because you're out of here and everything. And I was like, I guess that makes sense. I'm just wondering if Jonathan Gannon's catching some of those clues around the facility.
If he's not, he should be.
Absolutely. Coop, it was always fun. We went a little long today, but good show as always. The
Coop doesn't
legend
have to go
brings it.
sell turkeys or anything like that today.
No, don't have to do that. And the great thing is, I think the Suns can rebound Thursday against Golden State.
Okay.
with a back-to-back coming. Oh no,
It's not really back to back,
Thursday
but
to Saturday,
it's
right?
it's a
That's
home and home
away,
on
yeah.
Thursday and
So there's
Saturday.
a
I
break.
think look, I could be getting ahead of myself, but I can smell a sweep.
Hey, calling
Go
it
ahead,
now on
Coop.
top of it. Next Tuesday, Coop will join us again as well. McCollum on Business coming up at 11 o'clock today as well out there. So we'll see you tomorrow, everybody. 8 o'clock here, the main events.